Hello and welcome to another tutorial here at Capo Productions. My name is David. Today we're going to be going through a song by another David Kushner, called Mr. Forgettable. Really fantastic song. I've been jamming a little bit this morning and afternoon and having a lot of fun with the chords. A lot of these open chords, which means that you can really get away with murder in terms of not maybe quite getting to the chord change in time, because you've got the bottom three strings ringing basically throughout the song. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what's going on. There are three sections. There's a verse, pre-chorus, and a chorus, and basically that's all there is. So it's not too difficult. If you want to follow, check out the timestamps below, and if you want the sheet music or just a copy of the chords, you can click in the description below, which will take you to my Patreon page, and you can have access to that there. If you want to support the channel, I'm very close to 10k subs, which I'm excited about. So please consider subscribing if you find this useful. All right, let's jump into it. The first thing we're going to want to pay attention to is making sure our capo is on the 4th fret. Now, the more perceptive amongst you will notice that the tuning is slightly out. It's not exactly right. Really, I would not worry about this at all. It's kind of close enough. I would just keep your guitar in standard tuning. If you really are bothered by the tuning, you can, I think, tuning your guitar slightly flat, and that ought to do it. But really, I'm not going to do that for the purposes of this lesson. So I'm going to run through the chord progression for the intro and verse, and then I'm going to break down what I'm doing. The chords will be below, and you should be able to follow those without too much trouble. There you have it. So there are 4 chords, little 4-chord wonder. The first chord is a C major 7th over G. A lot of these chords have these pretty interesting Wi-Fi password-esque names. I wouldn't stress too much about that either. Really, the shapes are not too complicated. It's just a matter of remembering them and just getting the muscle memory going. So don't worry too much about the chord labels. The first one is a C major 7th over G. And that's followed by a G6 chord. That first chord is actually quite easy to remember, the C major 7th over G. It's essentially just an A minor shape that's kind of been repurposed up here on the 4th, 5th, and 6th string. So hopefully that will be an easy way to remember that. The next chord, G6, is just a G major chord without your 3rd finger. So you're just playing the 2nd fret and the 3rd fret. Also pretty straightforward. And after that, we've got this A minor shape again. But this is being shifted up onto the 5th fret and the 4th fret. Bearing in mind when I say the 5th fret and 4th fret, taking into consideration that the capo is now open. So 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So 5th and 4th frets, like that A minor shape. That's an E minor 9 over A, and the last chord is an E minor chord. And those are the chords for the first progression, pretty straightforward. Let me just run through that first verse one more time. Alright, let's talk about the strumming pattern with the right hand. Now that you've got those chords down, the strumming pattern is also quite straightforward. Down, down, up, change. Down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, down. So that is the strumming pattern that you're going to use for each chord, which will last the length of 1 bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that I don't think is too complicated, and that pattern runs the whole way through. What I like to do is make sure that my first strum isn't like, I'm kind of aiming towards the bottom 3 or 4 strings. Yeah. Because that's kind of the interesting part, right? The open strings are going to be ringing the whole way through, especially when you hit the up strum. But just the first strum, try to kind of aim for the 5th string in particular. And that is because that's kind of like the harmony that's most important is going to be on the 5th string and the 4th string. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. All right, let's jump into the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus starts off with this. My head is in the clouds right now. Now, I'm gonna play through this progression two ways. The first way that I'll go through is the hard way. The second way is the easy way. I recommend trying the hard way if you have a cutaway, but I don't have a cutaway, which makes this really hard to get these high frets. So let me run through it once, the hard way, I'll explain what I'm doing, and then I'll go through it the easy way. Again, check the timestamps if you want to jump ahead. And that last chord you're going to hang on for a little bit longer. Okay, so let's break down those chords. First one, A minor 9 over E. That's all the way up here. Sheesh, such a stretch. So I'm going to explain, because we're in such a high position, I'm going to explain the frets without the capo. It's just easier, I think, instead of having to calculate, oh, I'm on capo 4. So let's just pretend the capo is not there for now. So we're going to start off on the 16th fret. Our second finger and third finger are going to be playing both of the notes on the 16th fret. You can't quite make it out now, but that's what my fingers are doing. And then my first finger is going to be on the 4th string on the 14th fret, leaving the rest of the strings open. Nice, pretty, kind of slightly discordant sound, which is, I really like this change actually, it's kind of surprising. Same pattern with the right hand. And then we're going to slide this shape into kind of like not kind of, definitely an E major shape, except it's just migrated up one string. Right, so E major shape, here we're going to be on the 14th fret, and then on the 13th fret with our first finger. So E major, would be one string down, we're just moving up one. Then we're going to shift down to the 9th fret. The same shape that we did all the way up here, except we're doing it on the 9th fret and the 11th fret. And then we're going to shift down to this E minor 9 over A chord that we encountered earlier on in the verse. And then that just repeats twice. The second time, just be sure to hang on this chord before going into the chorus. Okay, so one more time. It's hard to make that change without a cutaway. Usually it's like a walk in the park, but this is pretty challenging. So I've devised a second way, a slightly easier way of playing this, which more or less follows the chords, just repositioning them onto the 4th string and the 3rd string instead to make this a little bit more manageable. So we still get that kind of dissonance of the first chord. Here we're going to be playing this on the 5th string, not playing the 6th string at all, and we're going to be putting our 3rd finger on the 11th fret and our 1st finger on the 9th fret. Again, remembering I'm describing this without the capo because there are a couple of high positions in the pre-chorus. Then we're going to shift down to kind of, again, A minor shape. This time it is... or I suppose it's more of an E major shape. This time it's on the 5th and 4th frets. And you'll have your first finger on the 3rd string, 3rd finger on the 4th string, and your 2nd finger on the 5th string. Then we're going to jump and end the progression the same way that we did the hard way, which I just went through. Okay, so let me play through it and then I'll explain those last two chords. So the last two chords again, this shape, 11th fret and 9th fret, and then again 9th fret and 8th fret. And that covers the pre-chorus. So yeah, I would suggest if you're struggling with some of those high positions, maybe you don't have a cutaway or your hands just aren't built that way, I recommend trying the easy way with the chords below. And if you feel a little bit more comfortable with that, then you can jump into the hard way. All right, let's jump to the chorus. Just 3 chords for the chorus, so not too difficult, starting off with this E minor chord. Alright, there you have it. So E minor, same strumming pattern with the right hand, that's pretty straightforward. Into this E sus4 over F sharp, a bit of a ridiculous name. That's the name that Guitar Pro 7 gives it. There's probably a better way of describing that. If you are a chord buff, leave some correction in the comments below. But yeah, essentially it's kind of functioning like kind of a B minor 7th chord with the F sharp in the bass. That's why it's over F sharp. So that part makes sense to me. Here I'm positioning it with my last 3 fingers. I'll try and give you a bit of a better angle. Or maybe this way you can also kind of see. Also would be fine to use your first finger, second finger, third finger. You can kind of figure out which configuration in terms of the left hand is most comfortable. And then C major 7th over G, which we encountered earlier. This is just that E major shape, A minor shape, whatever you want to describe it as. And you're going to hold that for 2 patterns or 2 bars down. For 2 patterns, yeah. And then you'll circle back and just repeat that 4 times before going back into the second verse. And that really is everything. So I think the best way of practicing this, apart from just practicing it slowly, is jumping headfirst into the pre-chorus, because that's the part that is quite easy to trip one up. And then, yeah, just kind of deciding which way you're going to do it. Are you going to do it the easy way first? Or are you going to do it the harder way, where the position starts a little higher? So those are my notes for this song. If you want to get the PDF of this, you can check in the description below. And if you found this useful in any way, please consider subscribing. Get me to 10K. I would really appreciate it. All right, everyone, that's a wrap for today. Good luck with your guitar playing, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye-bye.